Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 38th Annual Conference of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. Please rise for the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman and President of the Export-Import Bank of the United States, Mr. Fred P. Hochberg.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the 2013 Annual Conference of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. In preparing for today, I thought back 4 years ago to January of 2009. That's when President Obama put forth my name as Chairman and President of EXIM. I took the oath of office that May. In those 4 months, America lost 3 million jobs. Our economy was in a free fall. It was a very shocking and frightening time, and we needed to take action. That's exactly what President Obama and this administration did. And now, in 2013, thanks to you, America's business community, 6.4 million Americans are now working in the private sector. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause? We have added jobs each and every month for the past 36 months. America is coming back. 2 weeks ago, the President nominated me for another term as Chairman and President of EXIM. It has truly, in the truest sense of the word, been a privilege and an honor. This is by far the best job I have ever had. And I look forward to my confirmation hearing, and if confirmed, the opportunity to keep working with you and grow American jobs. Like many of you in this room, I've run a business. And I know your first thoughts over your breakfast cereal are not how many jobs you're going to create by lunch. Your focus is on sales, product innovation, the competition, margins, factors in your success. You're looking for the next customer, the next sale. But if that customer or sales overseas, that's where we come in. If needed, we can help close the deal, add to your bottom line, and most importantly, add jobs to our economy. We can grow our economy and put more Americans back to work. In his State of the Union, President Obama said, and I quote, "A growing economy that creates good middle-class jobs, that must be the North Star that guides our efforts." A growing middle class. That's what we need to do. And that's exactly what we as Americans need to focus on, an economy that creates good middle-class jobs. And that's frankly how we at EXIM measure our success. It's not by authorizations, not by matchmaking, not by trade agreements, but by private sector jobs. It's true in big cities and small towns, in companies that are large and small. And behind every one of those companies is a story. Now, one of those stories is right here. It's a company called Tetra Tech in Pasadena, California. With our financing, Tetra Tech is helping Sri Lanka provide and build a water supply system to provide 100,000 people with safe drinking water. This really does help solve one of the great health problems the world over. And it supports 400 jobs in manufacturing, construction, and engineering. So we improve lives overseas, create jobs here at home. I'm just going to grab a drink for a minute. I'll try this one. Despite the color, it's very good. Let me tell you about another story. It's a story about Miss Jenny's Pickles in Kernersville, North Carolina. Now, I met Jenny. She's sitting right here. I met Jenny at one of our small business export events. Better yet, I'm going to let Jenny tell the story. She was on 60 Minutes.
I grew up on pickles. My grandmother used to make pickles. We always had pickles in the house, and I love them.
Jenny Fulton and Ashley Furr were laid-off stockbrokers. They poured their savings into Miss Jenny's Pickles.
Go, go, go. You're going right there.
They're in more than 500 stores, some of them in China, and soon to be in Mongolia.
They like pickles in China?
They're in 40 stores. And
40
they're on the
stores
shelf.
in China?
Yes, sir. Beijing, Shanghai, Kunming, Shenzhen.
Why did you decide to expand into China?
I'll tell you what happened. I said, Ashley, 2011, we're going to export to one country. I don't care what it is, because 95% of the world lives outside the United States.
Take it from me. She makes a darn good pickle. I don't get commissions. Now, these jars you will find in over 1,000 stores from coast to coast. And customers are munching on those pickles in Britain, in Canada, in China, and Mongolia. And she's just getting started. But what holds people like Jenny and so many others back from exporting? Frequently, it's the fear of non-payment by customers halfway around the world. Now, cash in advance only goes so far. Export credit insurance does make the difference and solves that problem. As of today, Jenny has shipped 13,860 jars of these pickles around the world. And 12 more people have a job and are drawing a paycheck in North Carolina. Their story is what XM is about. After losing their jobs on Wall Street, Jenny and Ashley went from canning pickles on the dining room table to shipping pallet loads of pickles to China. We are delighted to have Ashley and Jenny here today. There's their great picture. Now, this is a particularly personal and familiar story to me. Jenny's sitting with my family and met with my mother earlier. And my mother, as Jenny and Ashley know, started her catalog company, Lillian Vernon, on our kitchen table 62 years ago. And Jenny, that company went on to become a household name and a public company. So the sky's the limit. We're counting on you. From an idea at a kitchen table to a now hiring sign, success stories like Jenny's motivate us at Exim Bank each and every day. And that's the trajectory that we're here to support. In pursuit of American jobs, we finance everything from pickles to power plants. In Saudi Arabia, Exim is working with Dow Chemical and Saudi Aramco to finance the Sadara project. Our direct loan of $5 billion is supporting 18,400 jobs at 70 companies, the largest number of jobs ever supported by a single transaction. Moreover, $600 million of that is going from exports directly from small companies. It's the largest small business financing the bank has ever done. I'd like to particularly thank Hala El-Mohandas and her EXIM team for making that deal happen. At lunch today, Sadar will receive our Deal of the Year award for supporting those 18,400 jobs and keeping America's small businesses in the game. More companies, exporting to more countries, finding more customers. That's at the heart of what the National Export Initiative is all about. 3 years ago, on this very stage, at that podium, President Obama launched the NEI, an unprecedented effort by the federal government to promote, to finance, advise, advocate, and defend American exporters and their workers. And the results? U.S. exports now top $2.2 trillion, and 6.4 million more Americans now work in the private sector. But again, the credit goes to you in this audience. It's the innovation and dynamism of American businesses and your workers. Now, here at EXIM, we do have a role to play, financing American companies and their workers who are going up unprecedented foreign competition. Competition from foreign companies, from state-owned enterprises, and, yes, foreign governments. And as you can see from this graph, the results tell the story. $35.8 billion of financing since 2012. 2.5 times more than we did in 2008. 2.5 times more. And 255,000 jobs supported in 1 year. That is about 1,000 jobs each and every workday. It's also 255,000 families supported by good middle-class jobs. 255,000 families with new hope as America climbs back from the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. Now, on top of that, we supported last year a record level of exports by women and minority-owned businesses, a 17% increase from the year before. It is the fastest growing sector in our small business portfolio. One of these companies, Auburn Leather, is growing its exports of leather goods with our credit insurance. Auburn's insurance covered shipments as small as $8,800 to one shoe manufacturer in Thailand. $8,800. And this guarantees that Auburn Leather, when they ship those leather goods, is going to get paid. And now, with exports fueling her sales growth, CEO Lisa Howlett added 20 more jobs last year alone. And Auburn Leather is one of thousands of small business exporters we finance every year. Last year, 88% of all the exporters we worked with are small businesses. You're going to get a chance to meet Lisa at lunch today when she receives the award for Small Business Exporter of the Year. And as of Friday, we're 6 months into our fiscal year, and we are off to a strong start, in fact, the strongest start ever. We did, in the first 6 months of the year, $14.8 billion in authorizations. That is more in these 6 months than all of 2008. More in 6 months than we did in the entire year in 2008, and supporting 100,000 American jobs. Now, we expect even better U.S. export performance in the years ahead. And the reason why is as follows. Around the world, the middle-class population is exploding. According to Brookings, an average of 200 million people will join the global middle class every year for the next 2 decades. 200 million people is about the size of the adult population in the United States today. 200 million more people every year, creating enormous demand for new infrastructure, for power, telecom, highways, airports, sewer, water systems, all of those things. This is a huge opportunity for American exporters. For example, last year, we signed agreements to provide $8.5 billion worth of loans for power projects, including a $5 billion memorandum of understanding that President Obama announced last November in Southeast Asia. We are providing key financing for India's drive to make solar energy a major part of its power portfolio. We are working with the Mideast to use its abundant sunshine to also provide more power. We're working with Australia, which made its first purchase ever of a privately owned commercial satellite. All of these purchases, all of these exports are meeting the needs of a new global middle class. I want to start with satellites for a moment. In November of 2012, we financed the $471 million purchase of U.S.-built satellites to the Asia Broadcasting Satellite Group in Hong Kong. We worked with Boeing, Space Systems Loral, and SpaceX. For ABS, Boeing is building the first electric propulsion commercial satellite, the first one, which is a made-in-America breakthrough. Launch services are being provided by SpaceX. This is a daring private venture. 8 years ago, 160 employees. Today, more than 3,000. 6 weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles, where these satellites are being built. It's the very same factory that American Motors built the iconic Nash Rambler in the 1950s, which was one of the great innovative products of that decade. And here's what it looked like in the 1950s when I was a boy. And here's what it looked like in late February when I was there. And this is just one of a dozen satellite transactions that we financed in the last 3 years, supporting 21,000 American jobs. Today, 60% of America's commercial satellite exports are financed by Export-Import Bank. Satellites are today the fastest growing sector in our portfolio. American business is proving the sky is not the limit. So whether it's compact cars or complex satellites, our innovation is what sets us apart. It shows our limitless capacity to invent and reinvent ourselves so we can meet new challenges. Innovative products and services that will keep America in the game despite the fierce global competition our companies face. And as a result, in community after community, now hiring signs dot the landscape. It's not just satellites. This was taken by my other half at the GE locomotive facility in Fort Worth. And it's not just GE. It's also small companies. Nancy Mercolino, who's on our advisory committee, CEO of a company called Ceilings Plus, an award winner last year, told me American-made product is a definite selling point. And because of export growth, at Ceilings Plus grew from 65 employees to more than 201 employees in just 5 years. I agree with Nancy and many others. American-made is a definite selling point. We have the business talent, we have the workers, we have the capacity for exports and put more Americans back to work. We also recognize at Ex-Im that we need to do our part, and that means continuous improvement in how we operate. To keep us moving, we've added the position of Vice President of Customer Experience. Her name is Stephanie Toom, and she's here with us today. We need to serve you, our customers, better and work smarter than ever before. In the last 4 years, we have broadened our product range of financial products to meet emerging economies, growth industries, and small business. I'm going to tell you just about 2 of them so we can get started. One is capital markets. We are using capital markets to reduce the cost and expand the sources of funding for exports. Express Insurance is another one. Express Insurance is helping small businesses worry less about getting paid and less about cash flow. It gives them the ability to take the plunge into foreign markets. The application, it's 1 page. 1 page. You can fill it out online, and we'll get you a decision in 5 working days. Harvard's Kennedy School liked it so much, we received an award for Bright Ideas in Government. Now, VP Walter Koskiow and his team made this happen. But that's not all. Today, we approve 90% of all transactions in 30 days. and 98% within 100 days. That is government at the speed of business. Moreover, Ex-Im is partnering with the SBA and Commerce to make it easier for small businesses and their lenders to get the credit they need. It's a brand new program. It's called U.S. Global Business Solutions. Now, to paraphrase Shakespeare, we are a hardy band of brothers and sisters of about 400. We're flexible, we're entrepreneurial, commercial in approach, customer-oriented. That's a performance even Kenneth Branagh can't top. So I'd like to just take one moment to ask all the Ex-Im staff and all of our board members to stand and get an applause from the audience. They're not all here. Some of them are still at the bank, making sure those loans get out in 30 days or less. Among their top achievements also is the bank's phenomenal risk management performance. And the results, we have a default rate in our most recent reporting period of 0.336%. You heard that right, 0.336%. And on top of that, we report those numbers to Congress every 90 days. Now, we achieve this through very rigorous due diligence because we can never forget that the full faith and credit of the United States government is one of our greatest assets. And despite an extraordinary record over 8 decades, I would say actually because of it, we are determined not to jeopardize that record. So what's ahead? I'm optimistic about the progress we're making at Ex-Im and the vast opportunities for our exporters. We want you to export more goods and services to keep our economy moving. For example, America's energy revolution has confirmed our leadership as the premier provider of energy technology the world over. And at the same time, it is reducing the cost of manufacturing here at home. We believe in you, and our team will travel to the ends of the earth to help close a sale when you need us to. Now, the faces change, customs differ. To be honest with you, sometimes the food's a little scary, but there's a constant the world over. They want to buy American. And we are here for one purpose, to make you a more successful exporter and create more jobs at home. We are not going to let a lack of financing stand in your way. So in closing, some of you know I love cartoons. This is one of my favorite ones. If you can't read it, it says, say, Dad, think you can wrap it up? I've got a long day tomorrow. So, before I wrap it up, let me leave you one last point. Our congressional charter expires on September 30th, 2014. It is hard to believe we are already more than halfway through our authorization. And the debate about our reauthorization, of course, has already begun. We had very strong bipartisan support in the past, and most importantly, support from you, the business community. But let's be candid, there still remains a vocal minority that thinks there is no role for government to support export finance. None. They ignore the economic realities of our time and our successful record. For example, against intensely stiff competition last year, Ex-Im financed Kazakhstan's purchase of GE's most advanced locomotives. This transaction supports some 5,000 U.S. jobs at companies large and small. 5 other countries were competing to sell locomotives to Kazakhstan. And each and every one of those competitors had active government support to close those sales. That's the reality of global competition. It is our job at Ex-Im to level the playing field. If we let our charter expire, it will amount to nothing more than unilateral disarmament. And Nothing would please these 59 export credit agencies around the world more. I don't believe in manufactured crises. I believe in manufacturing, period. You already have enough uncertainty in your business. And despite what our critics say, we do not subsidize, we offer market-based loans, we're self-sustaining, our fees cover our expenses, our loan loss reserves come from you, our customers. And best of all, we support good jobs at home. The result? We consistently make what you and I would normally call a profit. We don't have the word profit in Washington, so we call it a negative subsidy. It's an odd word because government subsidy, what we make is called a negative subsidy. So last year we delivered a profit of $1.1 billion to the Treasury. If you take that per employee, on average, each employee delivered just under $3 million to you, the taxpayers. And on top of that, supported 637 jobs. We have come a long way since the early days of 2009, when our economy was hemorrhaging jobs. In the next 4 years, the Export-Import Bank will build upon our success. We are going to finance the next Jenny Fultons to take their ideas from a kitchen table to customers around the world. As President Obama likes to say, we won't stop until every American who wants a job has one. I think about the 12 jobs at Miss Jenny's Pickles. I think about the 20 jobs added at Auburn Leather, the 400 jobs at Tetra Tech, the 18,000 jobs at Sadara. I could go on and on. But if you add it up, the Export-Import Bank is making a real difference. The next 2 days of this conference, my goal is that we learn new ways to make this happen and new resolve to add more jobs. Let's work together, take full advantage of the great potential of the American people. Let's increase jobs and create more exports. Thank you for joining us, and have a spectacular conference.